Could you provide an overview of your game?
Yeah, sure. So, I'd say I think the best way to describe Jailbreaker is it's basically a one-button platformer game. It mostly just a challenge for myself to see how minimalist I can go with like the controls. It actually started off as a joke actually by someone who was like, why not? Why don't you make like a game where you can just play with two buttons? And I did at one point, and then he thought it'd be funny if you go even lower, and I was like, yeah, I could do like one button. And one game that I was actually inspired by was oh, I forgot the name. It was like a rhythm. I think it's some rhythm game where you press the space bar, and it was really cool. So I thought I would also try it out as like a self challenge for myself. And so we got Jailbreaker. So I'm now working on this little project. Essentially, it's like a auto-scrolling game, but it's a lot more complex, I'd say. There's a lot of nuance in like how the button works. You can basically jump, you can run. Well, it auto runs, but a lot of the time you have to decide whether you want to uh, jump or drop down, or you can even wall slide if you're near the walls, and you can even roll if you're in the air. And with that, something that's not in the demo that's I'm developing at the moment is that a lot of other features like I guess we'll get into that later, but there's a couple of features which allow you to use the one button mechanic in a different way. So basically, my game is all about just jumping around, solving puzzles, and platforming in one button, basically.
What is a feature in your game that you take great pride in having implemented?
I'd say uh, I'd say the driving force of the game is actually the wall sliding. Basically, if the player is close to the wall, and then you press the jump button, you would go just sliding upwards, like this wall is ice or something. It took me, I think, a week to actually make it work properly, but it works. It works when it works. And a lot of bugs fixing here and there with some mechanics, but that is the driving force of the game. It's one of the main mechanics, wall sliding, just something with the walls. And something that's not in the demo is there's actually a mechanic I'm developing that's around the mechanic, basically a block that falls down when you're standing on it. But instead of just standing on it, it also falls down when when you wall slide on it too. And that leads to a lot of really cool designs I can make, like make maybe like a wall that blocks a path so you can like jump on it. Then you can wall slide just so that you can break those blocks. And that leads to some really cool puzzles also. I definitely can't wait to show them because there's a lot of really cool stuff I have developed that's not in the demo, but it will be there in the full version. There's still some stuff I haven't implemented, but it will be there, and I'm actually very excited to show. It's just really fun actually to think of cool mechanics that interact with each other with the main mechanics of the game. Very nice.
Yeah, as I was playing through the demo, I noticed the different height that you'll slide up the wall at, depending on how your trajectory towards the wall. So you have to kind of like balance when you actually jump to the wall to perform that wall slide. And I think the level design, you did a great job of making it just difficult enough, but not too difficult to make it through at least the first few levels. I didn't beat the demo yet, so I'm not sure how tough it gets. But throughout the development process, could you discuss a significant challenge you encountered during the development process?
Yeah, there was actually. I think what you just mentioned, the difficulty, is actually something that was very hard to fine tune. I had to actually playtest the game a lot. So when I made the first demo, which was actually not 10 levels long, it was 20 levels long, I expected, at least I expected it would take like 10 minutes. I was able to beat it. But my friends who I sent a playtest, it took around an hour, or two, most of the time because the level was very confusing, or because it just required like a lot of like very precise timing when you press the button. The demo is a lot better, okay? The demo is a lot better. It's way easier than what it was before. But making Jailbreak, I feel like I've learned a lot about like difficulty a lot because I'm the developer. I'm making the game. I won't know how difficult it is for others. I don't know what other people are thinking. I don't know what's on their mind. So I feel like it was very difficult to actually fine tune the challenge basically. So in order to actually overcome that, what I did was I asked my friends to record some footage, and some people even had their audio on, so they basically did commentary on the game while also playing the demo. It was very helpful. I was able to and just see what they were doing without helping them or anything like that. So it was very difficult, but I managed to somehow make something that was a bit more playable and just a little bit more fun. And instead of being like more about precise timing, it was more about puzzle platforming, right? And I think at the end, a lot of the levels after the demo will also be a little bit more fun because most of the elements in the game are now more puzzle-like than being more, just difficult. So I'd say that's the challenge, really. I think, especially with a game like, platformer game like this, I think the difficulty is something you really have to consider. So I'd say, yeah, the difficulty is probably it. But I think I managed to like sort of, like a margin, basically a threshold as to how to determine whether a level is too difficult or too easy. So I'd say, yeah, that's basically what I faced the most challenging. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, that makes sense, getting a lot of playtester feedback so that you can adjust the difficulty accordingly. But I noticed that how the difficulty scales, over the first 4 or 5 levels, I think is actually really well done. Because, the first level is just about, okay, this is the mechanics of how I move back and forth. And then, okay, now there's something I need to avoid. And, okay, now I have to deal with falling and timing. And so I thought you've developed, at least with this version of it, very clean ramping up of the difficulty level. And I was just, I got stuck on a level before we started this, so hopefully I can figure that one out. But I know you've talked about a couple of things that you're currently working on with it, but is there a particular feature or element you haven't mentioned that you'd like to talk about?
Oh, a particular feature.
Yeah.
Oh, there's one that I actually really like that I implemented recently. It's like this bubble mechanic. It's kind of like it was actually inspired by Celeste. They had a bubble mechanic in the game also where you go to the bubble, then you hold a direction, you go in that way. In my game, it's kind of like that. But basically, when you go in the bubble, you go all the way up, and you can time. When you press the jump button, you will time, and you'll exit the bubble. It led to a lot of really cool levels I made recently. It's not in the demo again. It's not in the demo, but it's really fun. Also, I think it's basically my most fun mechanic I think so far. Yeah.
You share your experience as a game developer?
Experience. Let's see. So I actually got into game development. I think around 2016-ish, somewhere around that time. I started with an engine called ClickTeam Fusion, a small little engine, visual scripting engine. And during that time, I was actually making some Five Nights at Freddy's fan games, actually. Then at one point, I guess I just wanted to try something new a little bit. And so I decided to just try out some engines here and decided to, as a learning experience, I just went with the GODOT engine, and because it was also what I could afford at the time. So Now, I'm actually working on Jailbreaker, mostly as like a learning experience with Godot and just learning the engine.
Very cool. And how can people follow your progress?
Oh, I think the best way would be Twitter. That's the only place I have. I also there's also a place called Mastodon, which I also go to. Mastodon Game Dev. That's also a place you can follow me. If you want to, you can also join the Discord. I also have. I'm not sure where the links are, but it's around. It's around. You know, it's around. But I'd say Twitter is the best place. Definitely follow me there.
Okay, and obviously I got the demo from
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Edge
the H
page,
page
so
also.
maybe that's a good location. Well, perfect. Well, once again, I appreciate you sitting down with me, and hope to see what the next version of Jailbreaker looks like.
Thank you so much.